Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, guys. How are you? Oh, look at that. The Thank you. Thank you, Jody. I appreciate you. Guys, this name right here, Defense Rest. So last week, this time, I was actually on a podcast with Jody and Steven from Defense Rest and Justice is a Process. And she just gifted some friends. Thank you, Jody. Jody is our friend she's in Australia, guys. Okay. And she actually, just to connect another dot, the the intro that I told you that a lovely person made for me from the podcast, that is Jody. Look at Jody. Thank you, Jody. I appreciate you, sis. Thank you so much. I absolutely love the intro. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, yeah, she's very sweet. So if you haven't checked out their channels yet, please do. They both do a lot of trial watching over there, so if you like, watching, I think Jody was watching, she was moderating the Rose Petals murders this week, and I'm not sure I think he was Steven doing the same thing. I'm not sure. um Girl, while all that was going on, I was trying to do my own channel, so I can't remember everything everybody had on. um but go check it out. I'm sure there's something good going on. Also, last week, Saturday's podcast, we did a real, it was, I wouldn't say like deep dive, but we gave our theories. We had some conversation revolving around like what our thoughts were with Jarvis Butts and the whole situation with the investigation of the disappearance and subsequent death of Naziah Harris. So that was a really great conversation. We went for, I think, about 3 hours. So, um, yes, Steve covers everything. So lots of trial watching and then trial broadcasting and all of that. So they're both excellent. Yes. So go check. Steve is here in the US, but Jody is in Australia. Yes. So definitely go check our friends out. I know I shared the link to the video in a video because I talked about it and I pinned it in the comments, but I will make sure to bubble it up and share it. Happened a week ago, but obviously the information is still fresh, so definitely go check it out. Look, today I want to talk about what's been going on this week. We hadn't had a chance to talk about, but I know it's been widely covered. So for some of you, this might be like, I've seen this already, and that's fine and that's wonderful. We're going to talk about it here, okay? If it's repeat for you and it's not something you're interested, it's okay. It is quite all right. But we are going to talk about I'm sorry, I just got an alert. My bad. We're going to talk about Kelli Marie Bryant. We're going to talk about Tatiana Williams, and we're going to try to get into Tyshael Martin. But Tyshael Martin, there's a whole interrogation video that's like 3 hours long. I don't know if we'll get through all of that. We might just end up talking about it, and then another, maybe tonight we can do the interrogation video. You guys have mentioned a couple of other things, so like I said, I don't know if we can get to everything this morning, which I'm sure we're not. We're not going to get to everything, but we're going to do our best. Okay, we're going to do our best, and from there we'll just keep going. Right. So let's get into it. If you don't even know who any of these people are, you're like, what? Who? What's going on? Let's just start right here with Tiana Williams, because she is the woman who was homeless and she was living in her vehicle with her kids, her mother, and I think they said two other siblings. I don't know if at the time that this happened that all of her siblings were in the car, um or the two that they said were homeless with the mother, but I don't know. But it's an awful situation, and we're going to see some familiar faces. from Detroit, because Tamara Liberty Smith is there. And we know Tamara Liberty Smith from the Naziah Harris. She's one of the police commissioners. Now, Tateona is not under any type of charges at this moment. I don't know if she's even being looked at for anything, if they feel that she was negligent. Her story is that she's been asking for help, doing the best that she can. Help has never came. Nobody would help her. But it's funny, I'm going to say, let's say peculiar, let's say weird, that now that the children have passed away, she's got people sitting with her. She's got people showing up to funerals. But when the kids were alive and they were cold and hungry and living in a car and having to go to school, sleeping in a car, now all of a sudden there's people holding her hand, rubbing her back, comforting her. But where were these people who couldn't let a family sleep? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know people don't like to be inconvenienced, and there always seems to be one or two people who always damn need some help. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just unfortunate. That's just the way it is. But when they have kids, um it's just a different situation. But she said that people would say she had too many kids and all kind. Let's hear from her directly. Okay. All right, let's go. We're just going to run
to visit the family.
So to get familiar with what's going on, because somebody here doesn't know, and the person and whoever's here that does not know, we going to make sure that they get some information on what happened, and that this is a trending story. So let's talk about it.
Tonight, I sat down with that mother. She is 29-year-old.
The mother of two children who likely died from hypothermia in a car is speaking out tonight.
Now, they're also saying hypothermia, possibly carbon monoxide poisoning. And I did listen to something where they said that in cold weather, you can have those fumes back up into a car. Because the systems aren't running as efficiently, and with a car running for the time that it was running, it's possible that those fumes came back in. So they said hypothermia. I think they said that the baby, maybe the 3-year-old, had frostbite, and I would imagine that could have been over a period of time, due to exposure. So I don't know. Let's listen.
9-year-old son and 2-year-old daughter were found unresponsive after spending the night in the Hollywood Casino parking garage.
Over the past 24 hours, questions have been raised about why the family didn't get help. During a press conference today, Mayor Mike Duggan revealed that family called the city in November, but nothing was done.
For whatever reason, this wasn't deemed an emergency that caused an outreach worker to visit the family.
Tonight, I sat down with that mother. She is 29-year-old Tateona Williams. She told me she and her 4 children had been living in their van for the past 3 months.
They said it was carbon monoxide. Or I don't know what it is. There's so many stories going around. I haven't even got the right story for my own kids. But one thing I do know is they could never be cold in their car, because I keep gas in their car. I do what I got to do to keep them kids with heat.
Look, this is okay. So they told you it was carbon monoxide poisoning, and you want to sit here and argue about whether it was cold or not. Carbon monoxide means that you left the car running so long that those gases were in the vehicle, and 2 of the people in the car, 2 of the kids, succumbed to it's like, ma'am, I know she's distraught, and I know she just lost 2 kids, but a word on the street is that she was out partying. And if even if she was partying, they say she was partying after the death of the kids. But even if she's been partying in the last 3 months, you got kids sleeping in a car and you're out having a good time. That's strange. Also, she has a GoFundMe with over $50,000 in it, and she's going to be okay. I think also what I heard is that she's definitely getting some services. So let's just keep listening.
So it's not hypothermia. My kids could have never froze to death. But I called everybody.
Did you guys hear that the little girl had a frostbite?
I called out of state. I called different cities. I called Detroit. I got on a cam list. I've been on a cam list for a long time. Nobody. Every time I call, they say there's no shelter, no bed. I thought I was doing the right thing. I tried to keep them warm at night. That's it. I was just trying to keep them warm.
She doesn't know what she's talking about. She's obviously distraught, but if they told her, the first thing she said, they said it's hypothermia, but I know they weren't cold. Clearly she's, she's not in a position to be interviewed. But on the right, you'll see Tamara Liberty Smith in the black. She is a community activist, police commissioner, and I think she is an administrator over a like women's services. I don't have the name, but she is someone who shows up when there is a need for community outreach and situations of this nature. That's why we saw her during the Naziah Harris situation. So she's a public figure in Detroit. But yeah, this woman, she's obviously distraught, and rightfully so, but clearly there were some missteps and some bad decisions.
Nobody helped me. It took me to lose 2 of my kids to get this help. I don't feel good about it.
Girl, is she sitting there low-key complaining? I'm sorry. I wish we could see more of this interview.
But first, breaking news in the sibling tragedy that shook Metro Detroit after 2 kids died of apparent hypothermia in a casino parking garage. Welcome to 7 News Detroit at 6. I'm Carolyn Clifford.
I'm Simon Shayket. This story has devastated our area. Just moments ago, 7 News Detroit reporter Darren Cunningham talking with the mother of those 2 children.
Darren joining us live right now from Detroit's West Side with more from their conversation. And Darren, so many people talking about this. This is simply heartbreaking.
Very heartbreaking, Carolyn. Simon. Moments ago, I did have the opportunity to speak to Tateona Williams, who lost her 9-year-old and her 2-year-old, also in the vehicle at the time, her 4-year-old and her 8-year-old. Also, Tateona's mother and her 2 siblings, a 13-year-old and a 17-year-old, also stay in that vehicle. She tells me that she has been homeless for 3 months and that she is trying to do better for herself, trying to get back on her feet. She told me she's a CNA, a medical assistant, and that she was actually about to start a new job tomorrow. And so I did speak with her, and I asked her, one of the questions I did ask her was to take me back to yesterday.
Yesterday, I woke them up to wake them up from school. My son wasn't moving. And I kept saying, Freddie, please get up. Please. Please, for me, just get up. Don't do this to me. And I tried to give him CPR because I'm a senior and a medical assistant. I've been working there since I was 17. I tried to give him CPR and I was just giving him CPR. I just kept saying, Freddie, don't leave me. Don't leave me, please. I saw the green and brown stuff come out of his mouth. I instantly rushed him to the hospital. I was yelling out the window, stop, stop, stop. We got to get through traffic. My baby, he's dying. We get to the hospital. I told valet, can you go get some help? He took too long, so I got out the car to get help.
You notice how everything is someone else's fault? So I'm trying to keep my baby warm. They say it's carbon monoxide. I tried to wake my baby up. He wouldn't wake up. I'm trying to wake him up. I'm trying to get through traffic. There's traffic. I'm yelling at the people. Can you move out the way? I get to the hospital and I tell valet, why are you at the valet and not at the emergency room? And maybe that was at the emergency room, but unresponsive. You told someone to go get help. Why wouldn't you pick up your son or your daughter and run them in Run them inside. You can't pick up a 9-year-old? You can't pick up your 9-year-old?
Came to the car, instantly grabbed my baby on his head, get a stretch. He's not breathing. Help. Cold blue. Everybody tried. I didn't even know my 2-year-old was dying. I was in it with my 9-year-old. And they brought her in right after they pronounced him dead. And my mama came to me, she said, Yaya. That's what we call her, but her name is Amelia. We just call her Yaya. And they said she wasn't breathing. And they pronounced her dead too. I asked everybody for help. I called out of state. I called cities I didn't know. I called cities people asked me to call. I even asked Detroit. I've been on cam list for the longest. Everybody now wants to help. After I lost 2 kids, I've been asked for help. I feel like it wasn't their time. I did everything I was supposed to do. They had everything. Everything they wanted. Only thing they didn't have was a house. But from electronics to clothes, anything they asked me for, my kids didn't even get whooped. I lost the one who made me a mother. I lost a 2-year-old. It hurt losing 2 kids in one night. You know, I don't wish this on nobody. And if you can get help, please go get help. Because I don't want nobody else to go through what I'm feeling. Just wherever you can get help from, if it's not from the city, the state, no other city or state, just go.
Look, I'm making an assumption here, and I don't know if this is the truth or not, but at the end of the day, you knew it was cold in that damn car. First of all, you got the baby, 2 years old. You look small. That baby should have been sleeping right on top of you. You should have had your coat over you and her and whatever blankets you had. That baby should have been skin to skin on you, under your shirt, in your coat, on top of you in a situation like that. You should have had that baby absolutely close to you and the other kids as warm, as comfortable as you could possibly have it. On top of that, running that car in a parking garage, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I can't really tell you how carbon dioxide in an open structure like that, but it's quite possible because of it being so cold. Maybe under normal circumstances it would act one way, and under frigid conditions it would be another way. So I'm not really sure. So I don't see how she can. I think she's trying to definitely make it not her fault. And I get it. Who wants to go to jail? But you might have to be held responsible for bad decisions. I don't know that she tried to murder her kids, because we've had some stone cold murderers out here, but she's potentially negligent.
Like, you don't have to suffer.
It's very, very, very heartbreaking. The new McFall Brothers Funeral Home is covering the children's burial plans and funeral expenses. Williams, 29, she's 29 years old. She is also receiving help from Detroit Power Detroit, that organization. That's the building that we're actually standing outside of here, where we spoke to her not long.
That's where Tamara Liberty Smith is. It's Detroit Power. That's the organization that she's either a director or in some sort of leadership over there.
Ago. And so anyone who is interested in helping her family, will be sure to get that information on our website, wxyz.com.
I don't want to get
7 News Detroit will have more from Williams on later versions of 7 News Detroit. Live on the web.
Okay, here's the father. This man had 3 kids with this girl, and I guess he didn't know what was going on with his baby mama and his kids. Okay. I mean, that's what he says. That's his version. Let's hear what he has to say. Okay, this is the daddy. This is the baby daddy of 3 of the kids, 3 of her 4. I think the other father is deceased, and this guy is father of 3 of the kids. and this lady is living in a car with no resources, and he's I guess he says he didn't know.
We're going to turn to our other big story of the night. A father speaking to us tonight after learning 2 of his kids died from exposure to the cold in a casino parking lot.
Yesterday, 7 News Detroit reporter Darren Cunningham spoke to the mother of those 2 kids about the tragic situation.
Yesterday, I woke them up to wake them up from school. My son wasn't moving. And I kept saying, Freddie, please get up. Please.
Well, tonight, Darren is getting the father's side of this story, hearing about the moment he learned 2 of his children had passed away.
Darnell Curry Sr. wiped away tears while talking with me about his children, Darnell Jr. and Amelia, and the distressing phone call he says he took from their mother, Tateona Williams, on Monday.
I went to the gym. As soon as I got on the treadmill, she called saying, can I
I'm not trying to be funny, but I would have left that part out. Like, this lady's living in a van and you're over there going to the gym. As a father, you should be more aware of where your kids are and what's going on, but you're over there on your fitness and ma'am is trying to hold it together in a parking lot.
make it to the hospital right now? They gone. I was hoping it was a sick joke, but it wasn't.
According to Detroit police,
I was hoping it was a sick joke. Hey, I got a joke for you. Your kids just died. How is that funny? How would that be a sick joke? Is that how they play with each other? To me, I would want to know, how long has it been since you've seen your kids? That's okay. You know what I mean? Like, as the reporter, how long has it been since you've seen your kids? Have you seen their feet? Have you touched their extremities? Have you talked to them about where they're staying with their mother? What's going on? When was the last time you saw your babies?
9-year-old Darnell Jr. and 2-year-old Amelia died while sleeping in a vehicle at the Hollywood Casino at Greektown parking garage. Investigators say the cause appears to be hypothermia, a tragedy stemming from homelessness.
I tried. I asked for help. I asked everybody, even people out of state. But I tried. I tried to keep hotels. I tried to pay people to stay there. It wasn't working for me. You know, people just didn't like too many kids at their house.
I spoke with the children's mother to.
And the mother her mother was sleeping in the car too. She's a CNA, and you know, unless you are a very seasoned CNA and you are a hospital CNA, in North Carolina they call those like CNA 3s, CNAs that work in the hospital, CNAs who have advanced training, you're not really making a lot of money. So 4 kids, even for a household of 5, even if she was making $15 an hour, which I doubt. She's received, we didn't even get to that part yet. She wasn't making a lot of money. So I'm just surprised, where are her services? Why is it that there are people who have beautiful Section 8 homes buying $1,000 worth of groceries and get a check? Why haven't you gotten where's your money? Where is your assistance? So you were asking for homeless assistance, but what about welfare? What about food stamps, services for the kids? Why didn't she tell someone at the school? If she couldn't get someone to help her direct, why didn't you walk into the principal's office, to one of the guidance counselors, and have them bring services to the school and tell them that these kids are coming to school every day and they're sleeping in a car? They're taking a shower where? I don't know. At McDonald's? You know what I'm saying? Like, even if they didn't want to help her, what about the children at the school? If she would have notified the school, I would imagine they would have had to bring somebody in, but maybe she was concerned about CPS. I'm not sure. There's always CNA work, but if you got kids living in a van, what do? Pull up to your job and have everybody sitting in the car waiting, sleeping, getting out, need to go pee, all that kind of stuff? That is a 24/7 situation. You got kids sleeping in a car and somebody wakes up and they got to go pee. You know what I mean? Like driving around trying to figure out how to make food, get food, you know what I mean? Like figure out where kids can take a shower or something, get cleaned up. You got a 2-year-old. 2-year-olds use diapers and pee and poop. Come on, it's like I cannot imagine the endless tending to it's different when you're in a home and you've got space and elbow room. In a van, I can't imagine that is comfortable or at all. But I'm gonna show you the videos. You guys probably have seen it. Let's finish this one up.
Tuesday evening, she told me she's been living in her vehicle for 3 months, along with her 4 kids, her mother, and 2 teenage siblings. She says she reached out to Curry, who's the
Her mother, this woman, her mother, so 2 adults, 4 kids, 2 siblings. So 6 kids, and so 8 people in what type of van? It's not a Sprinter. Maybe it was some sort of minivan.
father of 3 of her children.
I asked him, I said, can you get your kids for me? I said, I need help. You know I'm homeless. I done kept a room this long. I couldn't keep it no more.
They were homeless. Had Tatiana ever reached out asking to?
No, she did not. Lord, she said it was
They need to pull his text messages. He looks like he doesn't miss an opportunity to smoke something. Look at his teeth. Sir got money.
Tatiana ever?
Did they ask, sir, did you ask in the blue jacket, when was the last time you sent her $500? When was the last time you gave her some coins?
Reached out asking to?
No, she did not.
Do you pay child support?
Lord, she said, can I get
Girl, look.
them? Can I get them just to get them? And can I get them because y'all homeless? That's 2 different things.
She said she had been homeless for 3 months.
Can you get them just to get them? They're your kids. It's not like you got one kid with her. You didn't know her very well. It happened. You don't speak. You laid 3 babies in there. She says, can you come get your kids? You need to be in the driveway going to pick up your kids.
Hey, that's what I saw about 3 months, but she ain't never said nothing to me. Nothing. So all them other sob stories, they can cut all that. No, she did not.
Look, all I've seen in the last 10 minutes of people who don't want it to be their fault. I'm sorry. I feel like they don't want it to be their fault. Nobody wants to take a fall for this. Ain't nobody trying to go to jail. He's not copping to anything, but I think that he's negligent just from a standpoint of the woman called you and asked you to come get your kids. And as a father, you should do that. You can't pretend like you don't know what the hell's going on when you're the father of 3 of her children, and one is 2. So there's a 2-year-old. This is a fresh relationship that just broke up. So I don't get it.
Curry, who lives in Novi, says Williams never specified why she wanted to drop their kids off to him.
She just asked, can I get them for a couple of days? But I told her I'm working and all that, and I'm out here. We're not close to each other, so I couldn't. But she knows all my family is right around the corner from her.
Did she reach out to any of your family?
No, she did not.
Why didn't you reach out to your family and say, Tatiana needs to bring the kids? Mom, can the kids come stay with you while Tatiana gets herself together?
And she knows she could have, like we always used to do.
He says the last time he held his children was a month or 2 ago, and that they typically FaceTime, moments he will miss.
And there's a police investigation into this. What is it you would like to see come of this? Obviously, nothing's going to bring back your 9-year-old and your 2-year-old.
It doesn't even matter to me. Can't get them back, so it's whatever.
Darren Cunningham, 7 News Detroit.
I'm sorry. He didn't want them anyway, because if you wanted your kids, you would have been a stronger presence in their life. You wouldn't be saying it was a month or 2 ago. There's a big difference between 4 weeks and 8 weeks. And now it's never. So that doesn't really make any sense. So this video has been circulating around on the internet, and they say this was after the babies passed away. Let me see if we can show this. I'm sure y'all have seen this in your timelines. Hold on. She's over there partying with somebody. That's her humpbacking, okay? They got her on live. She got her little wig on and she's over there having a good old time. Humpback. I mean, they're having a good time. This, I'm still, I'm shocked. Okay, just a second. Let me get this off my screen. I can't get it to. I was like, can you please stop? Okay. So, and then let's see over here. Okay. This must have been on Facebook. Okay. So this is the same party. I don't know why they were on live, but I mean, you know why people are on live. Homeless mother that lost her 2-year-old and her 9-year-old after they froze to death as they were all asleep in the casino parking lot faces criticism after caught on live at her cousin's party. So the baby's passed away and you're over there doing all this. Now that's not her in the black t-shirt. The person that was her, you could see her better in the other video. She's right there in the middle. That's her with the humpback right there and the little bob wig. How are you behaving in such a manner and you just lost these children? I don't even get it. No just disgusting, right? Let me go look at the GoFundMe real quick. Someone just said it was $100,000. When I looked at it like a day or two ago, it was $51,000, but let's see if I can find it. I don't think this is the right one. Hold on. Let's see. I don't want to pull. This can't be it because there's one here for she needs our help. Let me see if I can just Google search it. I had no idea that there were people out here like scamming GoFundMes. I mean, I knew that there are people who may have GoFundMes that don't need GoFundMes, but I didn't know that people go and actually pretend to be other, like, that's just a whole nother. I'm like, my God. Now, the GoFundMe, there's a GoFundMe that was taken down. There's a bunch of GoFundMes for Tateona that have been taken down. So I wonder. GoFundMe account has been set up to help the family. Let me. I don't see the GoFundMe's. If anybody has seen the GoFundMe, can you drop the link? There was a GoFundMe that had like $51,000 in it. Now I see one with 1,500, and I see a bunch of, like, when you Google search, there I've clicked on at least 5 that have been disabled. So I don't know if they are pulling these GoFundMe's. Let me see if this one has the address. This one's it. Okay. This is what the GoFundMe is, 51,000. Now, if there's one that has 100,000, let me know. Listen to this. This is crazy. Okay. Tateona Williams is a mother that lost 2 children after asking for help and being turned away. Now everyone will judge and say that what they would have done. But let me start by asking y'all to respect my cousin and the fact. So why didn't you respect your cousin and open up the damn door? Javina. Okay. Now everyone will judge and say what they would have done, but let me start by asking y'all to respect my cousin and the fact that she just lost not 1, but 2, and she used emojis. Okay. She's probably one of the ones at the party. So before you judge, pray for her and her strength. Then look in the mirror, because I wouldn't have gave $1. I'm sorry. This type of message wouldn't get a quarter from me. So before you judge, pray for her and her strength. Then look in the mirror, because she ain't do nothing anyone else would not have done. I would have been at work. I wouldn't have been in my car. I wouldn't have been in a situation with 4 children and didn't have enough money to pay for our upkeep, our basic upkeep, and have 3 children with a bum who's worried about being at the gym and not where his children are. Okay. That's what I would not have done. So she loved, protected, and all she could keep her baby safe on her own. The only fault was her pride. Well, and then gut blowing. And that's gut blowing, because as a family, if we knew, we would have tried to help in some way. Anyway, anyone has it. You just have to learn to have it with the right people during the right situation. This is my concern. There's a lot of money coming in, and this woman has a lot to say. I'm wondering, is this money being funneled to the mother, or who is this woman, and how do we know where this money is going? My BBD, my BBY, my baby is broken right now. I don't know what that means. My baby is broken right now, all because she had too much pride to ask for help. She loves her baby and never. Why don't y'all help her then? Why are y'all putting your hands out to the world for money? And if y'all are so behind her and want to help her so bad, and y'all did not know what was going on with the kids, why are y'all asking us to help you guys and trying to chastise everybody for having an opinion when y'all brought this to the world? You didn't have to go, and you guys didn't have to go do interviews. She didn't have to do any interviews at all. She could have just said, I want my privacy. I just lost 3 kids, or I just lost 2 kids, and I'm homeless. I don't have time to talk to y'all. My baby is broken right now, all because she had too much pride to ask for help. She loves her babies and never expected this outcome. Please show some grace as God has you. She thought she was protecting her babies to keep them close to her. This world is cruel, not to mention they look at reasons to take your children, not help our mothers. Well, they're going to take the kids when you don't have any income, and Detroit is freezing cold. It's a very cold winter everywhere. And 2 kids died because she had pride. Pride is not something to brag about. Pride is what got these 2 kids being funeralized the other day. So she did her best on 10 toes. Well, her best was awful because she lost her babies. They stayed fed, bathed, and in school regardless of where they slept. They were happy. I'm sure they were not. They adored their mommy, and she did them. She protected and cared for her kids, for her babies the best way she knew how without asking an MFer for nothing. And this is what they wrote on the GoFundMe, and people are flocking to drop $5, $25, and $50. I'm sorry, these people are rude and they don't deserve donations. If there's some organizations out here that want to help these people, but this write up, this request for help and assistance is absolutely disgusting. She's a good person and a good mom. So please stop trying to condemn my baby for being too prideful and take a look in the mirror. Can you believe this shit? I'm not even refusing to donate. I'm not considering it. It's not even up for consideration. I would never. So they can go, look, I don't know what they're going to do with the money, but baby, I don't care. Javina or whatever, whoever she is, okay? That's Miss Salty Mouth over here, okay? That's Salty. And then there's the mama, allegedly, who's going to get this money. And so far, at least on this one, and whatever other benefits she gets from the city and people donating, okay? Now, People Magazine had can I find it on my Facebook? Let's see. Hold on. Let me find it. Girl, but weren't you just at the club partying? Look at the kids crying. Look how sad this is. All these people there. Where were y'all? She said she called all of y'all. She said she called people, but they said she had too many kids. Oops. All right, let's go back here. So they just had the funeral. Let's see what they say. Some attendees wore pink. Okay. A funeral was held because she had too much pride to ask for. She had too much pride. So according to her cousin, she had too much pride to ask for help and she was trying to do it on her own. But according to the actual mother, so the cousin says she had too much pride and did not want to ask for help, do it on her own. According to the mother, she said she asked for help, but nobody gave it to her. So which one is it? A funeral was held for 2 young children who died after sleeping in a coal van in a Detroit casino parking garage earlier this month. Mourners gathered at Triumph Church to pay their respects to Darnell Curry and Amelia Curry on Thursday, February 20th. So 2 days ago, according to the Detroit Free Press and Associated Press. Some attendees wore pink to honor Amelia, while others donned football jerseys in honor of Darnell, who loves sports. Tateona, the mom of the 2 young children, was seen crying at the service, according to the outlet, which reported that the kids' father, Darnell Curry, also appeared to be emotional. Speaking about the tragic case, which has drawn national attention, Williams, 29, previously told people that due to the cold weather, she kept the heat on for her family, which also included her surviving children, 8 and 4, 9, 8, 4, and 2. So where's the baby? So if the 9-year-old died and the 2, let's just do a little math here. If the 9-year-old died and the 2-year-old died, And the surviving children are 8 and 4. And Darnell Sr. fathered 3 of the kids. Baby, which one did you have in between babies with Darnell? Because you had 3 with Darnell and 1 with somebody else. And the 2-year-old is gone. And the 2-year-old was his. It just sounds like bad decisions all the way around. So you didn't have back-to-back 3 kids with that man. You had another baby in between. That's why Darnell probably don't mess with you. Let's just keep it real. But the 2-year-old was his, so he had to have double backed at some point. 9, 8, 4, and 2, and 3 are Darnell Seniors. However, at some point, her car stopped running, which she didn't notice until the morning when she went to get the kids ready for school and Darnell wouldn't wake up. She turned him over and saw that after checking him repeatedly and calling his name and asking him to wake up, said Tamara Liberty Smith, who is the Detroit Board of Police Commissioner, as well as a director of Detroit Power, Detroit Community Outreach, a transitional housing service Williams was referred to following the death of her children. Williams then rushed him to the hospital with the help of a family friend, while her mother stayed behind with the rest of the family in the cold, because I'm assuming maybe they ran out of gas. However, after realizing that Williams' 2-year-old daughter wasn't breathing, a friend returned to take them to the hospital, where both children were pronounced dead. This is the picture at the service. Are there not warming centers in Wayne County? There usually, when the temperature hits a certain amount, a lot of cities have open gyms, churches. They have certain locations in the city that will be open for the homeless to come get soup, coffee, tea, snacks, and have a cot and someplace warm to get out of the cold. Although police, so let me back to the article, but I don't know. I would assume they have warming centers, but I don't know. I don't know enough about it in that city. Although police have previously said that it appears the children died due to exposure to hypothermia, the Wayne County medical examiner said a statement shared to People on February 20th that the final determination could take time. Wayne County Medical Examiner's Office is working to bring clarity regarding the cause and manner of the tragic deaths of these children, said the chief examiner, Dr. Lockman Song. Death investigations under these circumstances require aggregating and interpreting information gathered from the autopsy investigations and laboratory analysis, which can take several months. We appreciate the urgency of understanding cause and manner and offering closure to this mother and other in our communities. We're working as quickly as possible to render a final report. Williams previously told People that the casino parking garage was somewhere the family normally went at night because it felt safe. At a press conference earlier this month, Detroit Mayor Mike Dugan said that based on the preliminary information, Williams' family contacted the city's homeless response team numerous times, but no resolution had ever been reached. Although Dugan said that was as far as they could tell, the family did not call back after November 25th. Williams maintained that she kept calling and never got help. It took 2 kids to die for them to want to help, she said. When asked for comment, the spokesperson for the city of Detroit previously told People that until we have all the facts, we really are not able to respond, but that they could continue to investigate. Since Deputy Mayor Malia Howard said that a local group had offered to pay rent for a year to house the family. So she's been offered a year of rent. she has over $50,000, which she probably, I'm going to be honest, that's $50,000 cash, which is, you'd have to make about $70,000 to have 50,000 cash. And I'm talking about after taxes. So you have $50,000 cash and a year of rent. She should be able to get up and on her feet in that year. Plenty of money to pay for whatever she needs to with these kids if budgeted properly. And you don't even have to pay rent. So $50,000 is like $6,000 a month, which is way more than what she needs. She probably could use $2,500 to $3,000 a month, considering her rent is already paid, and get her a vehicle, get her a decent vehicle. When asked for comment, the spokesperson from the city of Detroit previously told People, until we have all of the facts. Okay. Since then, the deputy mayor, Malia Howard, said that there was a group that offered to pay rent for a year. It is important for me to let them know that we're not just here for today, Howard said while speaking at the funeral home ahead of the service. According to the outlet, we're going to be with them as long as they need us. Girl, I feel bad for the kids, especially these little ones right here who are obviously sad and experiencing a lot of trauma from this situation, from mom's poor decisions. But meanwhile, mom was out having herself a good time on live, all up in the camera. Look at her right there. I don't know who that is she's all close to like that, but baby, it's giving, I don't know. It's giving, where's the other kids? They're over at someone's house or they're upstairs sleeping and the adults are downstairs. Like, what is going on? Girl, someone's going to ask to hold some money. She's going to be giving away money like it's nothing because she didn't make it. She didn't earn it. They need to give her a guardian ad litem. Whoever it is that's managing Wendy's millions needs to manage this little $50,000 and baby give her $2,500 or $2,000 a month. They need to give her, like, let's say $3,000 the first 2 or 3 months. And then she needs to get a job. So give her a few $1,000s a month to get her household together. And then stretch that thing out. Give her about $2,000 to $50,000 because the rent is paid. Her rent is paid. Her rent is paid for a year. She needs to go get a job, and they need to have a trustee dole her out a certain amount for the first 3 months so she can get settled, and a helpful amount for the rest of the year, and hopefully still have about $10,000 to $15,000 this time next year when she is on her own, and maybe even prepay her rent for her. Have enough that they can prepay her rent for another 6 months from the money that has been gathered. Like, she needs a trust. She needs a trust and a trustee stat. They do not need to hand her $50,000. That money is going to be over there in the casino. It's going to be in the casino. It's going to be smoked up, drank up. It's going to be gone. It's going to be toe up. Okay. All right. Let's move on, guys. We spent a lot of time on Tateona, but we kind of had to. Let's talk about the mom who, like, abandoned her kids for 3 years. Okay. Let's talk about her, because that's a whole mess too. And they had to have the biohazard team out there to come do cleanup. That's a mess. Okay, let's look at what happened. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let's go over here real quick. There was, look at what happened. Do you see this? This house was in such a bad state that they had to send biohazard teams, even though I don't know why that man is over there with no mask on his face, but the house was in such a disgusting situation.
Hold on, wait.
Do you imagine if you lived next door to the House of Horrors and it had pee pee and poo poo all up in the every toilet, every sink, everything was filled with pee pee, poo poo, garbage, everything. And then you got a 12 and 13-year-old girl and their brother who's 15. What in the hell was going on in that damn household when the lady is only sending over a loaf of bread for the kids for several days? You got a 12 and 13-year-old starting to get menstrual cycles. Where was the pads? Where's the running water? Where's the no toilet paper, no soap, no lotion? They said the kids' toenails they couldn't even hardly walk. A 12 and 13-year-old, those girls had their menstrual. If they didn't, they were just getting ready to get started. And there was no hygiene products. And a 15-year-old brother who's the one who went out to get the mail and he was the one who went outside. I guess the girls never went outside. But the lady, pretty much since the pandemic, she basically abandoned her children. Okay, let me pull that up. Hold on a second, guys. These are some absolutely disgusting stories. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, okay? Let's watch these two first. We'll watch her arraignment. We're going to have to get to Miss Ma'am in Florida later. But you know, it's just hard to even say. It's really disgusting, you know? And I don't even know what to say. It is very distressing. It's awful. I feel so bad for these kids. Let's go to this one first.
But first, the mother of the 3 kids abandoned for years in a Pontiac home, now facing 3 charges of first-degree child abuse. Thank you for joining us. I'm Glenda Lewis.
And I'm Simon Shaquette. We continue to follow this heartbreaking case. Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald announcing charges today, saying the 3 children suffered unimaginable abuse.
And just hours ago, we watched as employees.
They had to show up in damn spacesuits. Can you believe this? Look at this. They had to look at this truck. They brought the rescue wagon. And look at these suits these guys got on. He's got an oxygen mask.
Employees from the Oakland County Sheriff's Department cleaned out the home the kids were locked in for years. Those employees wearing hazmat suits to do the job.
7 News Detroit reporter Sarah Michaels is live in Pontiac with those.
We talked about this once before. I feel like over here, we just remember that book, Flowers in the Attic? Remember that book with the brother and sister that were locked up for years together? It was absolutely, some of you, if you're my age or a little older or a little younger, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that book may have transcended time. Baby.
Those new developments. Sarah?
Glenda, Simon, we are told that for nearly 5 years, 3 children lived abandoned inside of this Pontiac home, surrounded by mold and feces. Well, today we learned that the mother who allegedly created this nightmare could face up to life in prison.
This is the most serious charge for child abuse, and if convicted, Ms. Bryant could face a sentence of up to life in prison.
Wednesday, Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald charging 34-year-old Kelli Marie Bryant with 3 counts of first-degree child abuse.
The 3 children in this case suffered unimaginable abuse and neglect over a long period of time.
It is alleged that the children, 2 sisters, ages 12 and 13, and their brother, age 15, lived in this Pontiac home, abandoned for nearly 5 years. They were discovered during a wellness check for the mother this past Friday. McDonald shared that when police performed the wellness check, they were horrified to find anyone living in these conditions: feces, mold, and trash covering the home.
The children were afraid to come out of their hiding places and to speak with the police. Police had to repeatedly advise the children that they were there to help and they were safe.
When we came back to the home today, we found Sheriff's Department employees wearing hazmat suits, working to clean the unit out. McDonald said the children would text mom when they needed food. She would periodically drop some off at the front door. She told the kids to never answer the door or to leave the house. We're told the children were covered in feces themselves when officers came into the home Friday. Today, they are staying with their grandfather and they are continuing to receive physical as well as mental care.
All 3 children received immediate medical attention at a local hospital and they were interviewed.
I mean, these kids are not okay. You know what I'm saying? They hadn't really had any interaction with their mom other than the phone for 5 years. So the little one was 7, 8, and 10. And she's still texting them. They had phones. That's weird. You know, the download is going to be, she's done. Do you imagine? So let's say they take mom's phone, which you know they did. Then they take the kids' phones. Those messages, baby, she's done. She's done. No, they don't always do. I lived, you know, I think it's up to the discretion of the landlord. Some landlords do that. They want to come and, you know, they want to see what's going on in their property, but they also want to know, do you need anything? Does anything need to be fixed? Anything like that. But I rented someone's house once. I rented like basically a duplex, and they never came over. They never, if I needed something, call. Otherwise, girl, that's it. Paid my rent. I never heard from those people. Never heard from them. They didn't hear from me until I needed something. If I needed something, they were over within 24 to 48 hours, depending on you know what I mean? When you pay your rent, people don't bother you. When, some apartments or some landlords want to do an annual inspection, but some don't. Some don't need to. Some just might do it because they've had off the chain renters and they do it for everybody. Because of a few, they do it for everyone. Anyway, let's keep going. I'm sure we have this whole press conference. We can listen to it later.
Reviewed by trained forensic interviewers at Care House. Considering what they've experienced, they appear to be doing okay.
All of us thinking about those children today and what they experienced. There's still so much more to learn about this story. Today, Prosecutor McDonald, for the first time, shared information about how all of this alleged abuse started inside of this home back in 2019. That information is coming up in an hour at 6. For now, reporting live in Pontiac, Sarah Michaels, 7 News Detroit.
Thank goodness the children have some help. Sarah, thank you for the update.
The kids were living in a real-life nightmare.
The charges are 3 counts of child abuse in the first degree.
The Oakland County prosecutor charges a mother in what she says is the worst neglect case she has ever seen.
And this is the mother right here. She's 34-year-old Kelli Bryant, accused of abandoning her children for years.
And Bryant is expected to be arraigned in court tomorrow. Thanks for joining us at 5. I'm Tyshael.
I'm Kimberly Gill. That comes after Oakland County prosecutor Karen McDonald revealed new information in the case. So let's get right out to Will Jones. He's live in Pontiac with more. Will.
Kimberly and Ty, Kelli Bryant, I should say, is facing the most serious charge for child abuse, first-degree child abuse. We can learn more about this case in court tomorrow for the arraignment, but investigators say the kids who lived at that house lived in fear of their mother. They had been cut off from the outside world for years.
We say a lot, this is the worst I've ever seen. And I've stopped saying that because every time I say that, I see something worse.
Kelli Bryant is facing child abuse charges, accused of leaving 3 of her kids to basically fend for themselves at a home in Pontiac.
Police were astonished to find anyone in the location because it appeared to be uninhabitable, with piles of garbage and refuse several feet high, including large amounts of human excrement.
At the home, police say they found a 15-year-old boy and 2 girls, ages 12 and 13.
At the hospital, the children struggled with completing basic hygiene tasks like flushing a toilet and brushing their teeth because they had not done it in years.
Can you believe that? Do you imagine, you know how when girls start, you guys, we have mostly women here, but any of the men, when girls start getting their menstrual, it can start at like 9-10 years old, and they're not even getting a full cycle, but their body is starting to develop, and the uterus and all of these things are starting to grow and expand, and they experience really bad cramps, just bad backache, cramps, everything. I cannot imagine not having a mother, an auntie, a grandmother, anybody to be able to give you a Tylenol, give you a Motrin, give you a heating pad, give you good granny panties to put on, a warm tracksuit. I mean, there's just comfort items that you need when you start going through that process. They don't even have clothes. They didn't even have clothes. Covered in feces. 12 and 13, they could have already been full on menstrual cycles, developing their bodies. And then they got their brother there. Does the brother have clothes? Like, what was really going on in that house? It's like they were left to live outside in the damn woods. This woman she has damaged these kids. I hope that they can come out of this. I really do, because they need a lot of therapy. Because it's probably, we'll never know, and we probably don't need to know, like, to the extent of what they were doing and how they were eating. They were not getting groceries like you might think. Like, they said that it could have been a loaf of bread every 3 or 4 days. Awful, 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 awful.
The children were.
I've got the press conference. We'll have to revisit the press conference, but you're seeing some clips of the press conference now. If you guys want to watch the full press conference, we can do that. I've got both of them teed up to look at a later date. So maybe like tomorrow or something.
Forensically interviewed and described having virtually no physical contact with their mother, suspect Bryant, or the outside world in several years.
Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald says Bryant moved out of the home around 2020 or 2021, leaving 3 children at the location. When the food supply ran low, McDonald says the son would text Bryant and food would be delivered. Police say they were called to the home on Valentine's Day for a welfare check because of missed rent payments.
Morally, there is plenty of responsibility to go around for how this was allowed to happen. However, these 3 kids were entrusted to the care of their mother, Kelli Bryant, and the evidence suggests that she effectively abandoned them to a revolting pit of refuse and squalor. There must be consequences for those actions.
McDonald says the 3 children are staying with family right now. Coming up at 6, we're going to learn more.
I don't think they even should stay with family. They don't know those people. Those people never saw them in 5 years. I'm sorry. How do you see Kelli somewhere and you don't see the kids? Do you guys remember that woman? I can't even think of her name right now, but she was living in Texas. She left, went to Alabama. She was like sex trafficking herself or something. She was on the stroll, left her kids in a suburb of Dallas, took off, left the kids. She had 3 kids. 1 kid was a runaway. There were 2 kids, like a 12-year-old and a 3-year-old. The lady was in like Mobile or something. She ends up running into her mother, and her mother's like, "What are you doing here and where's your kids?" And she just like took off, right? The grandmother ends up calling the kid's father in California and says, "Do you have the kids? Are the kids with you?" And he said, "No." He immediately hangs up and calls the police in the city where he's paying rent for the house. He was paying rent for the house. Calls the people and says, "My kid's mother was seen somewhere and the grandmother didn't see the kids. Can you do a welfare check?" Ma'am hadn't been home in like 2 or 3 months. In that case, it was just months. And the father thought he thought it was strange. The girl kept calling him to send DoorDash and Uber Eats and stuff like that. But he was told that mom was at work, that she was working the night shift. And okay, she's working the night shift. I live in California. He would send food over. And that's how the little girl was eating, because the mom left the refrigerator and never replenished. The little girl was texting her dad. Dad would send over Walmart or send over food. And then finally she got busted. She was in her hometown and her mother saw her and called the baby daddy. Thank God, right? That is appropriate family intervention, right? I think, yeah, they were like right outside of Houston or something. I've got her, Raven. Her name was Raven something. I did a story on it. It's in my way down. This was like a year or two ago that this happened. And when she got arrested, she was going to have to be extradited back from Alabama to Texas, right? If I think long enough, I'll remember her last name, but it was Raven something. Anyway, thank goodness. But these kids are on some self-preservation. They're not being taught. It's almost like, remember Blue Lagoon, the brother and the sister? It was Brooke Shields and Timothy Hutton. I guess the parents, they were on some sort of boat ride in a different period of time. Anyway, the ship wrecked, and they basically raised themselves on this deserted island. Okay, remember that? Raven Yates. Thank you, Janetta. You remember what happened in that movie? They were brother and sister, right? Remember, by the time that they were found, they were parents. Okay? Like, I'm not trying to put 20 on 10 on this story, but come on now. This is absolutely disgusting, and everything that happened to those kids is that lady's fault. I don't care. These kids don't know anything. There's no parent there. There's no parent to intervene or to teach them what's right and what's wrong, and for them to have proper boundaries as siblings. They don't know any better. The kids were 7, 8, and 10 when they were abandoned. I don't know. I'm not going to go all, you know what I
Or
mean? Like,
about what those kids experience inside this home
disgusting.
and how they are doing tonight.
They're not doing well. They're not doing well. I guarantee you they're not doing well. They can't be. The years of unraveling, of just having to fend for yourself and abandonment and living with a telephone of someone, can you send me some milk? Can you send us some bread? Do they even know what stuff is called? Did they have a working stove? Did they have hot meals? Like, you know what I'm saying?
They're alive here in Pontiac. Will Jones,
Yes.
Local 4.
Okay, Will, thank you.
This is awful. Okay, so she had her arraignment. Let's watch that. This bitch.
Okay. All right, back on the record with the Kelli Bryant matter. For the record,
And they snatched her wig, slap off, and that's what they needed to.
Carrick, I know you've had an opportunity to go into a private confidential breakout room to confer with your client regarding the charges in this matter. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
And are you waiving the reading of the general information and complaint this morning?
Yes, Your Honor, waive reading, stand mute, ask the judge to not guilty plea on her behalf. I did advise her of the nature of the offenses, the maximum possible penalties, as well as gave her basic constitutional rights.
All right, this matter is hereby assigned to Honorable Judge Cynthia Walker. She will be back before her on for a probable cause conference March 4th, 2025, for a probable cause conference.
Girl, a probable cause on March 4th. What day is Jarvis Butts? Isn't he on March 4th or is he on March 7th? Girl, there's so much court coming up. It's ridiculous. Okay.
With an exam date set for March 11th, 2025.
So her preliminary exam, that's when all the information is going to come out, but we don't know if it's going to be televised. But considering that this is like a high profile case now, maybe it will be televised. So March 4th and then March 11th, ma'am has court.
Ms. Bryant, that exam date is a tentative date depending upon everyone's schedule, but by the court rule, we have to set a date to keep it going. That will be at 9 o'clock. The PCC, the probable cause conference, is at 1:30. Of course, if you're unable to retain an attorney, the court-appointed attorney will be provided for you to help you navigate and communicate before Judge Walker on your next court date in this matter. Pretrial services relative to bond, but for the record, Ms. Carragher, are you in receipt of the pretrial services report bail recommendation in this matter?
Your Honor, and I did discuss it with my client.
Okay, all right.
I am, yes.
Okay, and have you read and reviewed that?
I did do that in the breakout room, Your Honor. Sorry, there's a lot of feedback, I think, from the jail screen. I think that's our problem right now.
Yeah, our problem is
But yes,
from the
I did
jail
review
screen.
it and I talked to her.
Okay, all right, so they're recommending release with conditions in this matter. So we're gonna go from there. We have the PCC date. I'm gonna have you speak to bond and then I'll make my decision as to bond. And I'll also have prosecution speak to bond. Ms. Carragher, you asking the court to accept the recommendation as provided by pretrial services?
I am, Your Honor. MCR 6.106, if you go through those conditions, provide that a personal recognizance bond with any conditions should be provided unless Ms. Bryant fell under some of the very specified exceptions to a personal bond that are listed. The court can also provide a cash bond if the court finds that Ms. Bryant is either a risk to the community or a flight risk. This particular case is serious, and we're not denying that it's a very serious case. However, I don't believe that the facts and circumstances of the case give any indication that Ms. Bryant is a risk to the community at large. In addition to that, there is no indication that Ms. Bryant is a flight risk. She's a lifelong resident of the county. She was residing within the city limits of this community. She, was employed and she has ties to the community. In speaking to her, she also is asking that the court consider a tether, which could be part of a bond if the people had any concerns that she posed a flight risk. I do think, the recommendation from pretrial services is in line with the Michigan court rules, understanding that it is a very serious offense, but the court rules are what they are. And they do provide that Ms. Bryant should be released on a personal bond with conditions. So that's what I'm asking the court to do.
Ms. Gray, would you like to address the court regarding bond in this matter?
Thank you, Your Honor. I did have the opportunity to look at the pretrial services report. I know, Your Honor, just swear to facts yesterday and that those are fresh in your memory. So I will
I'm
not.
going to mute the jail camera and go ahead, Ms. Gray.
Thank you. I did have the opportunity to review the pretrial services report. I know that Your Honor just listened to the swear to facts yesterday, and I'm sure that those are fresh in your memory. I am requesting in this case, I do agree with Ms. Kirandango regarding MCR 6.106 to the extent that you may not deny bond, but this court has the authority to put in place a high cash bond with conditions. And I believe that it appears that Ms. Bryant is not employed and that her resident status may be transient. So I consider her, and I think that the facts of this case portray her as a potential flight risk, and that there are 3 victims in this case that she should absolutely be prohibited from having contact with. So I'd ask the report add a specific no contact provision as it relates to the 3 minor victims in this case. And if the court would like me to go on, I can.
No, what I found very suspicious in the report of pretrial services, there's 2 different addresses given to her. So I agree with you, Ms. Green, that one could opine that she's transient, she's from here, she's from there, we don't know where she resides. I do find her an acute risk and danger to the community and to any minor children under the age of 18, let alone the 3 minor children that she is a mother to. With that in mind, I agree with Ms. Carragano. I cannot deny her bond. That is court, of course. My first knee-jerk reaction was to deny her bond. However, because I find her acute danger, I find her a continued danger to the children. My main concern is, I don't know who, if anyone, that the children have been given to. If it is a family member, I'm concerned that she still may have contact with the family member from the jail with instructions to continue to engage in fear tactics to forbid the children from cooperating with authorities in their continued investigation in this matter. For that reason alone, I'm giving her a $250 million bond in this matter. Cash.
You almost couldn't even get it out. She said verse $250, then $250 million. I mean, these kids need intensive in-house, in a very caring environment. They need to be able to be kept together, but also even just a little bit apart to be able to tell their stories, because we don't know what type of abuse could have happened to each, to them. We just don't know. They don't need to be with family. They're not ready to live with a bunch of people they don't know. They don't even know those people. Where were you? Where were you guys when we didn't have a toilet to sit on? A cup to drink some water, fresh water.
Cash only.
$250 million cash only.
Should she post that bond, she is not to have any contact with these children by family members, third-party agents, or friends. So, Ms. Bryant, I want you to understand, any phone calls from the jail, should you're unable to post this bond, is recorded. Should the court find out that you are sending messages to engage in further fear tactics and intimidation of the children, your phone privileges will be removed. You're not to have, in fact.
So basically, they're going to be monitoring the F out of your calls. They're going to be monitoring your calls, period. You mess around on that phone, you don't even ask about the kids because you didn't care about them anyway. If you're sending over a loaf of bread every blue moon, baby, you don't care. So why ask about them now? Just go back to pretending they're at the condo. That's what I would do. Just go back, because they are going to, the judge is not playing with you.
Tactics and intimidation of the children, your phone privileges will be removed. You're not to have, in fact, any contact, should you post this bond, with any children under the age of 18 in this matter. If you post this bond, you should be supervised by pretrial services, no alcohol or drugs, no weapons or firearms, and a GPS tether with a verified address, because I'm concerned pretrial services has indicated 2 different reported addresses for you. I don't believe anyone knows where you have been staying, madam. There's no consistent history. Anything further regarding the bond, Ms. Carragano, Ms. Green?
Just ever so briefly, they had no issues finding my client to arrest her. So I just want the record to be clear on that.
She said they didn't have any problem trying to find her to arrest her. This is the situation. So the landlord hadn't gotten rent in a couple of months. Maybe it was since November, either November or December. So she had been paying the rent over at that place. So she has to have some sort of income. What the income is, we don't know. But yeah, her lawyer made the point that they found her to arrest her. So, okay.
Ms. Green?
Your Honor, you have before you information that the defendant has been lying about her whereabouts, the whereabouts regarding what she was telling where the children were. So you have a lot on this record in terms of inconsistencies with her location and the information that she's given to put in place this high cash bond.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for your cooperation in this matter. Ms. Bryant, you are thanked and excused from the camera. Ms. Caragondo, Ms. Green, thank you so much. Pretrial service, thank you so much. Ma'am, can you get up and let the deputies know we're ready for the next defendant? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna say thank God the landlord went over there when he did, because you never know what, I mean, he got over there when it was appropriate for him to be over there. I don't blame the landlord at all, because it's not his job to police and monitor and understand what's going on with the families. Sometimes landlords are way too involved. That's when we saw that lady landlord get arrested, Marquita and Marquita's boyfriend. That's why her behind got arrested. She was too involved. There's too involved and there's appropriately involved. Too involved is worrying about what your tenants are doing and getting arrested on something that's not even your business. That's too involved. Appropriately involved is going and checking on your property and your payment, your rental payments, and then seeing that there's a problem and calling the police. That's appropriate. Just like the people in the Nesto case, the Kroll family, okay? No rent, I'm coming over, okay? No rent, weird cars, nobody answering the phone. I'm going in and I'm calling Detective Natalie Fields, okay? That's appropriate, okay? Her portion of the rent was probably almost, was it Section 8? Okay, maybe it was a Section 8 apartment. Okay. So if he wasn't getting his full payment, and maybe that's why he slow dragged it over, because if he's getting a check from the state and then she's supposed to be paying like her $50 or her $100 or $5, I mean, okay. So yeah, that would make sense. So she was paying it because maybe she was getting a Section 8 check. And if she was getting a Section 8 check, which is, if you don't know what Section 8 is, Section 8 is government assistance for housing. It's not free housing, but it's housing that is supplemented by the government, and the government will pay a portion of your rent. And sometimes the portion could be everything. So, and then you pay the difference. So it's quite possible. Okay. So that's that on that, guys. Guys, we're going to have to get on the other mom, and we'll circle back because there's a lot of information. There's some press conferences, and then there's an interrogation video for the mom that was in Florida, Tyshael Martin. She is a mom, but she is not a mom to the young lady who passed away. Unfortunately, she is the girlfriend of the father that left his daughter in the custody of this woman. It's definitely giving horrible, absolutely horrible. The father basically didn't want the daughter. The daughter was living, I guess, with her mother before the mother passed away. I think the mother went to jail. She passed away. Her natural mom. Somehow, this man thought it was a good idea to leave his daughter with a woman that he's dogging out. Okay. And how was he dogging her out? He's with somebody else. He's already with somebody else. So she's pissed. And then she got his kid. And it's awful. And we'll talk about that next time we get together. And then we'll watch the press conference with the prosecutor McDonald. And then the police chief for the homeless mom, he's such a nice man. Did you guys watch that that debriefing with the police chief regarding the first mom, Tateona Williams? He's such a nice guy. They've been collecting clothes and money and all kinds of stuff. Such a nice guy. I highly doubt there was a Section 8. They do annual inspections. Okay. Well, like I said earlier, somehow she had to have had some sort of income to pay the rent, and the rent was being paid. It was only not paid in the last 3 months. So, obviously she had to have some sort of income. If it wasn't Section 8, then I don't know what to say. I'm sure in the probable cause or something, because this is all revolving around a rental property and unsupervised kids, and the landlord is a witness of sorts because he's the one that rang the alarm. I'm sure we're going to hear some information about that. I think in other cases it would be relevant, but it's definitely relevant now because the situation. Yeah, I got to get some information on that. I heard that he's being deported, and if he's not here legally, he's going to get the same treatment. Look, he won't be the first Real House husband that got deported. Do you guys remember when Teresa Giudice's husband got deported? Remember Joe Giudice from Real Housewives of New Jersey? See, what these people don't realize, go on the Real Housewives and mess around if you want to. All your secrets will be out on a national stage, okay? Teresa and Joe were up to their shenanigans. Joe was a naturalized citizen, or thought he was, through his parents. This was back in the day when people didn't complete paperwork. His parents were naturalized. There was a time period where you were naturalized through your parents. He was not. He did not get naturalized through his parents. His parents were responsible to get him his citizen papers and did not. So once Joe got in trouble, baby, they did that track. They tracked back his citizenship and saw that his parents never got him naturalized. Baby, they put him right on a plane back to Italy. Okay. And Simon will go right back to Italy too. Okay. I do keep up with Portia's case. So let me pull those last papers, and we'll pull Simon's papers. We'll talk about Simon too. We'll get into it. Okay. All right. When we come back, we'll talk about this. I'll see you guys a little bit later because I'll see you guys a little bit later in the car. I have 2 Dear Fran letters to read to you guys. So we'll be over. I'll share the link so you guys come. One of you guys, probably 2 of you guys. One of our good sisters who's over here a lot. One of our good sisters wrote a Dear Fran, and I'm not sure where the other one came from, but we'll read both of those. I gotta take Farah to get her hair done, so we're gonna be live from the beauty salon. Okay, you guys know how it goes. Live from the African hair braiders. Okay, and I will be reading 2 Dear Fran letters. So I'll drop the link later and join me for those in a couple hours. Okay. All right, guys. I'll see you guys a little bit later on, and then we'll resume and getting into these 3 moms arses, so we can be all the way caught up for court, because court coming soon. Okay. All right, guys. You guys take care. Hit the thumbs up for me. Likes do matter. They help a lot. I appreciate your support. Defense Rest, and I am Woman 72, supporting for 8 months, and I'm sure much, much longer than that. You guys are awesome. Thank you, everybody. I will see you guys a little bit later. Okay, y'all? Okay. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.